In 2013, country music songwriter Rory Feek and his wife Joey shot a music video for a song they loved called When I'm Gone. In the video, they painted a picture of a world where Joey passes away and Rory is alone. They had no idea that storyline would come true in real life. In 2014, after giving birth to their daughter, Joey was diagnosed with cervical cancer. 2 years later, doctors weren't giving them much hope for her survival. In his book, This Life I Live, Rory shares their love story that touched millions along the way, and how his greatest joy and greatest pain are wrapped up in one terrible, beautiful thing.
Well, Rory joins us now, and it's great to have you here. You know, I would imagine in reading your book and then in looking at these amazing pictures that the process of this has to have been both painful and joyful in just, you know, kind of logging all of what it was. Is it hard for you? It's only been a little over a year. Is it hard for you to go back and watch this, or is it a joy to remember?
It's amazing to remember because most people don't have any of this.
Yeah, that's
They don't
true.
have anything like this. And we didn't know why we were capturing it and logging it. Yeah. We were just living, and we didn't know the story was going to turn out the way that it did. So to have it to go back to and watch all the, I mean, we have so much.
Yeah,
we have so much.
Really
and it's not just pictures that you take on an iPhone. Like, we really captured it, and we tried to tell stories with it just because I thought it might matter to our children. Turns out it matters to them and me and lots of people out there.
And for sure for Indiana.
It's for sure.
Your littlest.
Yes.
You know, because it will be the documentary that keeps her mom alive.
The documentary, and also every time we made something, every music video we ever made was at home. Yeah. Everything we ever did was using our lives, our children, our neighbors. And I didn't realize at the time how important that was going to be, but it'll especially be important to Indiana as she grows up, because those will be how she will remember and discover her mother.
Well, certainly in your music, we see your gift for writing, but your book is amazing, and your style is so different than anything else I've ever read before. I mean, it's so conversational, so laid back, so you, so the farm. But had you ever anticipated writing a book in your life?
I wanted to write a book, and I remember I actually even made a few calls and had an appointment years ago, like 5 years ago, to see if it could happen, and it didn't come to be. And one of the reasons was they didn't know if I could write. They didn't know if we had a story that was compelling, and they didn't know if I had a voice. And by writing the blog over a couple of years' time, a voice developed. I started realizing that this, besides writing songs, this feels special. It feels special for me. So I think that that book publishers and others realize that you not only have something to say, you have a unique way of saying it. And I didn't know that. I believed it, but I didn't know.
But that's kind of the pattern of what happened to you musically too. I mean, it wasn't like you woke up one day and said, voila, I'm a songwriter. I mean, you went through an incredible process of trial and error and submitting things and being rejected until you came to the place where somebody said, aha, you know, there's something here. Do you think that's part of God's way of giving us a voice, of helping us understand how to relay the message?
I think that there's a lot of power in believing in something, like believing that you could be a songwriter. And where some people would see the obstacles and the fear would paralyze them, for me, I just had this overwhelming belief that it could be possible. I didn't know how or anything else, but the belief in some of those smaller things, or they're big to me, I think God uses those to unlock bigger doors. I didn't really believe I was going to be a singer. I was going to get to stand on stage with my wife and travel. I would have never dreamed we'd have our own television show, or that somehow my skills of being a songwriter could be used to tell the story of my wife who's going to have a baby and then have cancer and then all the other things. You know, you don't know those. You just believe in the smaller vision, which is, I believe that he could let me write songs and he turns it into something else.
I think that's actually like a nugget of maybe giftedness that God places inside individuals, because you came up a hard way. I mean, your life today is not what your life was like growing up. So, but through it all, through all of the moves and the transitions with family and the struggle financially and just all of that, there stayed in you a belief that you were somebody and you were to do something with your life, even when you were making your own poor choices.
Right. Well, I had some strange, probably not a good belief, but I had a belief that an ordinary life was going to be disappointing. Like, I wanted to live an extraordinary life. I thought an extraordinary life would mean, you know, you'd be a famous songwriter or singer or something like that. As time goes on, as time went on, and I realized that I did get some of those opportunities, you start to realize that the real extraordinary life a lot of times is a much simpler life.
Yes.
To find the extraordinary in ordinary life is so amazing to me. To be on television, that's supposed to be special. The other parts that I didn't think were special are the most special, but I didn't know that then. And so I've loved the lessons, because for me, I didn't know where I was going. I still don't know where I'm going, but I would have never dreamed this journey would lead us here.
Yeah, and that's the extraordinary aspect of your book to me, is the person who you are in the beginning when you start to the dramatic place that God took you. And the real heart of that started with a moment of surrender that was very personal, just between you and the Lord. Talk about that.
Well, it's you know, you could point at moments of surrender. There's quite a few of them.
That's a lifelong journey, I guess.
And what it is that you're never really surrendering. I have on my wall, I have a notebook piece of paper that my wife framed from a particular day where I was writing a commitment to the Lord. I'm so clear that I did not commit. Like, I know what happened after that. But I was trying, and I was making little bits of headway, and there were some big moments where you took giant leaps of faith, and they changed everything. And one of those for me was just in a time where the music was going really well before Joey came along, but I was incredibly empty, and so I sort of had a little bit of a time where I just was not sure where I was going, and I've sort of ended up on a bus headed, the opposite direction from the life I was leading. And I was always looking for God, waiting for Him to hit me in the head with a brick and make me somebody different, make me the person He would want me to be, and give me the life that I probably should have instead of the life I was leading. And it never happened. But one night on this bus, I ended up in a Greyhound station in Louisville or somewhere, and just looking in the mirror. And I think it really wasn't a conversion moment. What it was a realization, looking in the mirror, that maybe He is already here. Maybe the guy I'm looking at in the mirror that I can't bear is God's already inside of me. I just have to do the work. I just have to get up every day, take one little step towards being a different person than I was yesterday. And that did make a difference. The next day wasn't different, but the next year was.
Yeah.
God and now
honors the effort.
Now it's such a different life.
This is an amazing story about you and Joey and your life together, and her leaving life as we know it and moving into a bigger, greater life. And it's so poignant. What do you think it is that draws people so completely to you and to your story?
Well, I think it's my wife that draws people so to our story, because she's so special. And I mean, for me, that's how I got to be part of it. And I think I was just doing what I was doing, which is writing a story. And then she started living an amazing story, and she let me write it, and we shared it together. And how brave she was and how honest I was a pretty unusual combination, especially for, I tell people we're rurally famous. So we're semi-celebrities. But well known enough that people would pay attention.
Yeah.
So that they could see something they hadn't seen before.
Mm-hmm. I think the realness is a huge key to why people follow you. It's an amazing story. Encourage you to get it.
Thank you.
This Life I Live is the name of the book. It's the life they've lived. But you know what? It's the life we all live. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.